Yo, welcome back to my channel. And in this episode, we're going to do a sprinting and stamina recovery system. So this is something that I wrote last night, and I thought I should share it with you guys because I've never seen anybody do their sprinting and stamina system like this, but I have seen this in games. Basically, what's going to happen is we're going to sprint, and then our stamina is going to drain, and when we stop, our stamina is going to recover. But if we're moving still, our stamina will recover slower. If we stand still, our stamina will recover faster. So that's what we're about to implement. Get ready, strap on, let's get it. All right, first things first, let's go ahead and prep. So first thing we need to do is go into your third person and go to your input folder and go to your actions. We need to create a sprint button. So right click in your actions and go to input and go to input actions. And we're gonna call this one sprint. Here, let me get my keyboard here. Sprint. All right. So now you've got that. Go back one folder and go to your mappings and add that sprint mapping up there. So add a new one and then we'll look for sprint. And now sprint is there. We need to press the plus sign here if we need to add another game controller. But for me right now, we'll do the keyboard and we'll do left shift. So press that button and then press left shift, and then left shift will fill itself in. Like again, if you're using a gamepad, like press this plus button and you can fill out your gamepad. So for the gamepad, maybe I would want it to be like the left thumbstick button. Boom. All right, perfect. Save that, close that. Now we need to create, let's go ahead and create the variables inside of the third person character. So go to your third person character, press plus sign, and we need to create a new variable called standing still. And it's a Boolean, and that's good. Also, we need to create a variable called stamina. So press plus sign and create one called stamina. And this is going to be actually a float. And when you compile and save, make sure you change that value to 1. Perfect. All right, the next thing that you need to do is create our custom event. So inside of the third person character, find a blank space somewhere and we'll create our custom event. So right click, we'll create a custom event. We'll call it recover. So custom event and call it recover. We'll come back to that in a moment. Just make sure that's there. Before we move on, let's go ahead and create our HUD so we can see our stamina working. So get out of your third person character and find a blank space. For me, I have like a folder called HUDs. But right click and press user interface widget blueprint, user widget, and we'll call this like the main HUD underscore WB. Double click on that and go into that. The first thing on the left hand side in the palette, what you need to search for is canvas panel. Add your canvas panel down there. And then on the canvas panel, for this example, we're going to keep it very, very simple. We'll just add a progress bar, drag your progress bar onto that panel and size it up. So this is our stamina bar. Compile and save. And what you want to do right here is come on to the right hand side and see the percentage. This is where you can see what color you want your stamina to be. For me, I'll leave it at the default blue, but if you want to change the color, just scroll down a little bit to fill, color, and opacity, and you could change the color to whatever. But like I said, I'll leave mine at blue. Anyways, on the right hand side again, beside percent, you'll see bind. Press bind and create binding. Drag this back, and from here drag off third person character. Or if you're using the first person character, use that one. Drag off the object and get player character. Off of the as third person character, you want to say get stamina. And you want to hook the stamina into the return node. And that's all you need for the HUD. You can close the HUD down after you save it and compile it. Now, back to your third person character. We're almost done here. All you have to do is go into your third person blueprint And when the game actually starts, so find your event begin play, and at the end of that, just create that widget. So create widget. And the reason why we're doing this is so we can see the stamina on the screen. When you create widget, make sure you search for the one you just made. Mine's called main HUD. And then off the return value, say add to viewport. And that should be all you need to see your stamina on the screen. Alright, so back over on our little event, custom event that we made. Right above that, right click and look for that button that you made earlier, so sprint. So use the enhance action inputs, enhance input actions. And anyways, let's set this up real quick. So for this, what we want to do is off the triggered, drag off your trigger and set the stamina. So grab your stamina, say set, and drag it off the triggered. And what we want to do is set the stamina to the stamina. So get your stamina minus, so subtract. And then you say, for this example, this is how fast you want the stamina to drain. So we'll say 0.005. And then you can hook that green up to this green stamina, and that's perfect. Now, off your started right here, what we need to do is get your character movement. So come on the left hand side, drag your character movement off, and we could put it down here somewhere. And drag off the character movement and say set max walk speed. Now default, your max walk speed is probably set to 500. And when you click on your character movement, you'll see that on the right hand side over here. So when we start to sprint, we want to set it to something like 800. And when you're not sprinting anymore, so you can copy and paste and hook it up to completed and set it back to 500. So it goes back to the normal thing. And make sure that's hooked up to the character movement. Also, when you're not sprinting anymore, you want the recover function that we're about to write to run. So off of the end of this, just type in recover. And you'll see the function. If it's blue, you know you did it right. Perfect. You compile and save that. Now let's actually write the recover function. So the first thing you're going to need to do here is, let's see, drag off here and let's get our variable that we made earlier called standing still. So drag that and say get, and we'll make a branch. So from the branch in the true, we're going to put a delay. We'll put a delay at both of them. So to put a delay, all you have to do is hold D and click. So hook that up and change the value of the delay to 0.1 on both of them. Alright, so now from the true, the top part, what we're going to do is set the stamina. So drag your stamina, set the stamina, and also get your stamina. So get stamina. And we're going to add to it. So plus on the top one, 0.005. And hook that up. So basically, if the character is standing still, then the stamina will recover by 0.005 every 0.1 second. And then we need to, at the end of that, we need to put a little check here. So if it's less than or equal to 1, so if this stamina is less than or equal to 1, actually, let's put greater than. I'm sorry. Greater than or equal to 1. So if it's greater than or equal to 1, if the stamina is like greater than or equal to 1, put a branch, hook that up so we could put this final check in. If that's the case, on the true, we don't want it to do anything because after it recovers past 1, we don't want it to go any further. But if it's false, what we want it to do is continue to recover. So type in recover. Alright, and then on the bottom, if they are not standing still, then the recovery will go way slower. So what you can do is copy this whole thing, because it's basically this exact same. We just got to change a value. So start from here and copy just these right here. Your stamina. Hold shift to get that one. Copy and paste. So basically the same thing is going to happen down here. Is after this you'll set the stamina, but we want it to go slower. So instead of 5, we'll put 1.001. Hook that up, and then same thing at the end. Copy and paste. I should have got that, but I didn't. Hook that up, and boom. There's no real change there. The top and the bottom look the same. The only difference we want to happen is if they are standing still, the recovery goes faster. If they're not standing still, the recovery goes slower. And that should be hooked up perfect. Now, if I were you, I would comment these. So let's move all of this out of the way. And let's comment this as recovery. Press C to comment something. And then highlight the other part of that, and then we'll comment that as the sprint. Click this bubble to show it. Compile and save. And last thing we need to do is tell our character, or let the game know when our character is standing still. So if your character is already moving, you've already done the animation blueprint, that's where we're about to do this at. So go into your third person character's animation blueprint. And if your character is actually moving around the map, then you've already made one of these. If not, you might want to look up a tutorial on how to do an anim blueprint, which I have a few tutorials about these. But we don't need to mess with any of this stuff right here. All we need to do is go into the event graph, and right off of the speed, we need to do a little check. So in order for your character to move, you already have to have speed and direction set up. So you should know that part. So wherever your speed is set up, this is where we need to drag off a check. And basically, after this set speed, we need to say, is it less than or equal to 1? So type in 1. Because if it is less than or equal to 1, then they're not moving. That's kind of our logic there. If they're not going 1 velocity, then they're not moving, basically. So we'll put a branch and hook that up to your speed, and then hook the condition up to that. And then lastly, for your branch, we got to move this back a little bit more. You might not have all of this, but again, you do have direction and speed if your character is moving. Anyways, after this branch, what we need to do is set standing still. So we need to drag off your third person character and say set standing still. For the true, what we're going to do is set it to true. So, and then copy and paste that, and then for the false, we'll set it to false. So boom. Yep. So basically, if the speed is less than or equal to 1, then they are standing still. If that's false, then they're false. Alright, and after that, just hook both of them up to the next part of that code there, and then you're pretty much finished. You press save and done, compile, and we can test it out now. So go to your level, press play from here, and you'll see your stamina bar on the left hand side. And when you press your sprint button, you'll see your stamina bar drain. So you'll see your stamina bar drain like that, and then when you stand still, your stamina bar will recover. If you're walking around, your stamina bar will recover slower. So that's like the best stamina system you could put in your games, and that's how you do it. So if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments. Other than that, that's how you make a stamina bar in Unreal Engine. That's how you make a sprint and stamina system, matter of fact. Hope you learned a lot, and I hope y'all join me for the next one. And other than that, I hope you have a really great day and continue to create and stay creative, y'all. But I'll holla at y'all next time. Peace.